Bashir?
It was Bashir, I think. Yes. Hey, everybody.
Sorry.
And good evening. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 2, The Circle is over. And it has been since the 3rd of October, 1993. But we're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast. I'm Dave Mader, coming at you with Star Trek TV and movie reviews. And we're here streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube simulcast. Or you may be listening to us on the audio version. Welcome to everybody, and happy Star Trek Day. We got some great panels to talk about this episode. First and foremost, co-host Jaemeel Robinson. How you doing, Jaemeel?
I'm okay. Happy Star Trek Day.
And with Kevin and Ashley Millard joining us as well. How are you two doing?
Excellent.
We're great.
That's great. I have to put you in the. I forgot to update the marquee here. There you go.
There you go.
Oh no, I spelled the name wrong. No, the E comes after the thing. You know, that's right. There we go. Okay, and we're here to talk about the Circle and Deep Space Nine, and this is our 3.5-year journey to talk about this show. So it was Jeff and I last week. So now we don't know where Jeff is, but we're still going here. We're not. The ship goes to warp, no matter what.
The Circle took him. That's what.
The Circle took him. He's in a cave somewhere. They've got more firearms than a Galaxy-class warship or starship, or whatever Cisco says. There's going to be some weird visions from the orb of prophecy and change, perhaps. There's going to be some interesting conversations between Minister Jaro and Vedic Wynn in their nefarious plot to take over all of Bajor. So we're going to get into all of it as this 3-part season opener of the second season, and we continue to break it all down. So, Jaemeel.
Are we going to talk about how this is the second episode in a row where Kira is implied to be a prostitute? Love it.
Well, yeah. So in the first episode, in the Homecoming, which was the beginning of this arc to start the season, which was unprecedented. How could you do a 3-parter in syndicated TV like this in 1993? But Ira Stephen Bear said, "I will try it. I will do it. Who's going to stop me?" And no one did, apparently. And that's what he did.
No one's done it again for some reason.
And they never did it again. And I do think that it's like the cliffhanger after part 1 and the cliffhanger now after this part, and you're just like, holy geez, where are we going with this? And this feels like what would eventually become more of those longer narratives that everything's to be continued, right? That like Prime TV, the TV of especially the 2000s, the decade after this, would establish. But this is still in this time, and yeah, I don't know. This was a kind of a trippy one, I thought, in terms of what goes on. I wasn't even quite sure. I've lost track of time and how much time has been going on, even in these past 2 episodes. Jaemeel, thoughts?
Time is just a construct of us on this mortal coil.
Am I being too linear?
Yes, we're living in linear time. Now, if you were one of the prophets, then you live in don't live in linear time, and everything's happening all at once.
Right.
That's true. That is a fact.
Now, it doesn't for the most part, you can follow it along. Stuff seems to slow down and speed up very quickly throughout this entire storyline, because that trip to Cardassia was pretty quick last episode, and Namek Lee seems to get new clothes and has a new role pretty quickly, and that coup seems to be slow and steadily moving very quickly as well. So I don't know how long do you think it takes this entire episode took?
At least a couple days, right?
I feel like from the beginning of the first episode to now is like 18 hours. Like it just doesn't seem like it. Okay, it doesn't seem that long.
It has to be, because
going from
Bajor to the station takes like a couple of hours, and
they've also had time to install some extra transporters on the runabout since the last episode, because the last episode they say they can only transport 2 people. This episode, they transport like 7 people.
Well, no, it's because O'Brien did his magic, his transporter magic. You can only pull that move out sometimes. You can't. That's not like an everyday.
He was on that runabout, and I bet you it's the same runabout. They always go to pad C. I bet you it's the same one.
It's the O'Brien maneuver.
The O'Brien maneuver. I could transport 6 people at once
with 2 transporters.
But he couldn't
transporter pads.
But he couldn't do it when he was there to like save the POWs. He was like, no.
Hard.
I can't even try.
He went back to the station and read the manual, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do that."
Yeah, it's not even consistent between these 2 episodes. This is like a 3-parter. This should be at least O'Brien should be consistent in this series of episodes.
You guys are looking at it the wrong way. This is like a classic video game where, for the mission, they used all of the O'Brien resources to mask the runabout, so he couldn't do anything else. He was just a regular dude. And then for this specific mission, he was specifically assigned to do transporter duties. So he put all of his resources to transport a lot of people. So therefore, that's why the stats of the transporter increased. It's a video game.
I see.
I guess.
Well, he rolled, and it was like, can a transporter pick up people? No. Damn. Okay. Well, gotta do the hard way.
I think he got back to the station and was like, it's stupid that I could only transport 2 people. And he fixed that shit.
Okay. And of course, we're talking about the whole scene where Kira's rescued, right?
Yeah.
This commando force.
The episode.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And like, what about those Bajoran no-name deputy guys who got phasered, who were with Cisco? Did they get transported out?
Yeah, they did. They carried them back.
Okay, good. Okay, gotta keep those guys.
Yeah.
Where do you start? Okay, I guess but Millard, you haven't really said what you think of the episode. You're okay with this one?
I think of the 3. I think it might be the best.
Of the 3, okay, and I don't really remember next week yet, so
neither do I really. But so far, it's I like this better than the last one, probably just because I like when they're all saying goodbye to Kira. That whole scene makes me laugh.
The stage play,
Yeah.
What the hell was that? I do want to talk about that. Like,
I like it.
It was like, is Kira dead? And she's like reliving her like last moments on the ship. And it's like, oh, doorbell's ringing. Who's that? Everyone's here. I'm here with my friends.
It was like watching Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Although she should have said, I'm here with my friends and Bashir.
And Quark.
No. Quark got her liquor, right? So she didn't break his arm this time. So she's changed on him since the first episode,
I guess.
Yeah, like, okay, and the cliffhanger from last week was that Kira is being reassigned. Your new first officer is Lee Nallis, and Lee Nallis is in the job now. The guy who was trying to run onto the freighter in the last episode, he's been promoted to the rank of Navok or something. They've made up a rank; it doesn't even exist before this, and they give it to him. And just because Minister Jarro, as we will find out, is the true villain. I thought he was on the level last week. He's clearly, if it's Frank Langella, Skeletor himself, you got to expect some.
Skeletor, I love it.
He always plays a bad guy. As soon as he walks onto a set, he's the bad guy.
He was Zorro. He was Zorro in 1974.
He can be both. He's a good actor.
1974. Well, he turned into Skeletor afterwards. So I stand corrected. Zorro got changed.
Is he better in terms of villainry as Minister Jarro or Skeletor?
Well, there were no magical keyboards in this show, so I ranked this slightly higher. Okay, slightly higher. Okay, Courtney Cox wasn't heavily featured in this show, so slightly higher.
No, but someone by the name of Robert Duncan McNeil was in that movie who will go on to be Tom Paris. So there's a Star Trek connection. Great, I like Masters of the Universe. If we've never mentioned that.
It's been a long time since I've watched it. I don't remember him being in it.
He's Skeletor.
He's Skeletor.
No, I mean Paris.
Oh yeah, he's the boyfriend.
He's the boyfriend of Courtney Cox.
Yeah.
Julie, no.
Oh my God, I have to rewatch it.
I would. Okay, we should all rewatch Masters of the Universe and then talk about it.
Kevin's never seen it.
I've never seen
What?
Kevin,
Never
you are
seen
in
it.
for something.
it.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe has just taken over this podcast. D Space
It's
Nine.
It's got 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
It's
Amazing.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
17 is very generous.
So
Very
good, especially in
generous.
high def. It's amazing in high def.
Yeah.
Um,
So Skeletor, yes.
yeah, and Gwildor, and all of them.
Gildor!
Gwildor. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So Lee Nallis is now in. There's this whole scene with Minister Jaro and Cisco where he's like, "I'm not happy that you're taking my first officer." He's like, "Well, I'm promoting her." He's like, "Well, that's different," and he's very happy about it.
And then a parable about a politician windbag. He states that.
Yeah, but it's clear that this is all kind of nefarious. And then Jake Sisko then calls his dad, who they find the circle. It's a Bajoran hate crime here on the station, and we got the emblem of the circle spray painted.
So wait, you're the commanding officer of the space station, and there's not a single camera pointed at your door at all. They couldn't like someone come down like didn't in earlier episodes they had like footage of people like, oh look, we have footage of people going down these corridors. There's nothing available at all.
Apparently,
right?
yeah.
I still contest that Odo is not a good security chief at all.
He's a detective.
He's a great detective, but he's a terrible security chief.
But he makes such a cute rat.
Yes.
Yes, Rat Odo. He was
I
busting
love
out his
Rat Odo.
shape-shifting abilities
I love it.
for the
It's my
team.
favorite part of the episode.
Right. And speaking of Odo, after this whole thing with the circle emblem in the cold open, we come back to see Kira's packing up. Odo is pissed off. He's like, "Go in there and fight for it." And then one by one, the main cast, the crew here enters. Most of the people she works with, and Quark is also included. I guess because he's the main cast, but she's not really friends with Quark. She certainly doesn't work with Quark. And I'm not sure why he's at this party.
Because he's trying to get in her pants.
Yeah.
True.
It's on brand for Quark.
He's trying to sleep with her before she leaves the station.
Right.
Yeah.
Even like later on when Quark comes up to Ops, I think they were trying to integrate Quark more into the crew and their story and their missions. And I don't always I guess for me, like, and they continue to do this after this, but I guess I like Quark's more when he's not necessarily wrapped up in all of their dealings, particularly once they get to the Dominion War.
He's kind of better when he's just commenting when they're in Quarks. Like when he comes by the table. And
he works better for me as like a Garrick or he's not one of the great gang. He's not Neelix. He's not like, to me.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, this is the precursor to Neelix. They're like, we have this kind of bartender and we can integrate him into the crew so he can go on like away missions and all this other hijinks that are ending up being ridiculous. Hashtag justice for Tuvix.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, it makes more sense later with Nog when he joins Starfleet for him to be part of the story, and and here they make Quark the deputy or whatever in this episode. Deputy.
I wanted him to wear a star badge on his lapel, just right there.
But to me, like, I don't like it as much. Like, it's they do it a lot in the show, but I like it more when Odo and Quark are at odds, or when Quark is taking advantage of these situations. I guess I like him more as a scoundrel, but somebody who does the right thing in the situation, isn't nefarious, isn't going to hurt somebody or anything like that. But he's a little more invested in this Kira leaving thing that I would care
last
for.
Chance.
Yeah,
it's last chance.
It's last chance.
Yeah,
He's
he wants to hit it. He wants to
Right.
hit it. He wants to hit it.
And the whole room's going crazy until Vedic Barile comes in, and the hush hits the room.
Lord, this guy is so creepy. Kira,
how's your paw?
how's your pa?
He's the worst.
The divisions feature me too. Like, this dude is a type of dude that's gonna send a dick pic. Like,
I don't
he is
understand.
So creepy.
Does he have sex appeal? Vedic Barile? I don't. Ashley saying no. So as our resident expert,
I hate all of the him and Kira stuff.
It's so creepy.
It's awful.
the
So
relationship is not good.
He has a like a Bill Cosby predator orb where he uses it to like literally he like sets her to do it, right? And I don't know, that seems a lot of manipulation. Did you see me in your dream? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, he sees her in a vision, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go to the station and bring her here, and then she'll fuck me.
Yeah.
I think that because as a Vedic, he's a priest or almost like more like a bishop, right? He's like a little higher up in the ranks, but he's allowed to get married, like as some other priests are, right? But in real life,
It's only the Catholic Church that can't.
Yeah, I guess, but monks. I always think of monks as being celibate, and he's just got this like weird horniness to him that I'm not comfortable with. Like particularly in these visions tonight, in the prophecy of like in the orb of prophecy and change, where especially when his shirt comes off and they're just standing there without their shirts on.
It's like a sneaky horniness. It's not like it's not out there. It's like he's trying to get away with it.
Right. It might be because he wears the dress.
And also somehow being really boring at the same time.
He's like if Alan Rickman couldn't act, plus he was combined with like Ben Stein, like Kira, how's your pa?
That's awesome.
And then there'd be like I was kind of cheering for Kai Wynn. It's like you could stay a couple days, a week.
Still Vedic Wynn. She's not Kai yet.
Sorry, Vedic Wynn. Vedic Wynn.
She will take it, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm glad. I'm glad it's not Barile. Like after if this was supposed to sell him to me, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, we like this guy. I like that he's the liberal Vedic or whatever. But
is he?
I think that's like she's the conservative of the church, and he's the more liberal. Like, you know,
so
she wears
the liberal who just chills. He just chills in a monastery and does nothing. Oh, there's gunfire in the background. Oh, okay.
He's more like the Buddhist Bajoran.
Okay.
Vedic.
He just gets high on orbs and tries to get chicks to sleep with him. That's his thing.
And he gardens and tends to making rocks straight or something. Like he just likes to be in his garden.
He wants Kira to work on woodworking.
Yeah.
Here's my question then. Why is he even really of all of the Bajorans, billions of Bajorans, like the two best spiritual leaders on the planet are Vedic Barile and Vedic Wynn.
Should we look at the presidential race that's happening right here?
Granted.
Like, which lizard do you want to choose?
Point taken. You're like
the high ups in the Catholic Church, not the greatest.
Not great either. It's just a little disappointing. You're like, this doesn't say a lot about what's going on with their politics. And then you got Minister Jaro, of course, who's running amok.
It's Nixon, man.
He's Nixon.
This proves that the Bajorans are terrible.
I think these 3 episodes do serve a purpose, though. They allowed them to do the Bajoran stuff and then go, nobody cares about this. Let's do something else.
Yeah, we need to focus on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe as the episode moved on, okay, so he takes her to Bajor, and then Lee Nallis is now the first officer. So we get this first episode. What's it going to be like with Lee Nallis as first officer now? Whoa, here we go. Turn this whole thing on its head. He's like, I don't even know how to do this job, and he says that he reports directly to the prophets. Like that's his title.
It's Lord.
Like it's not.
Prophets
come
say
on.
that I stay in and sleep today.
Like some people say, I don't like the Bajoran stuff early on in Deep Space Nine. This is kind of part of it. You're like, what are you talking about?
You mean someone? You mean everyone said this? Everyone.
Like you want to like you. This could have been better. It has more potential, but I think it's there's a few moments like this that make me groan.
I think Deep Space Nine at this point too was looking for a bad guy. Like it was looking for a nemesis, and so they were trying out different things.
Yeah, but they have Gul Dukat on the Skype calls. He's confined to Skype calls.
So great.
And they got Skeletor and Nurse Ratchet, running around here trying to take over the world. So whatever. Yeah. Okay. And when Kira lets her hair down when she finally gets to the Bajoran monastery, Jane made a comment. She let her hair down. Like, her hair's so short. Is there a down?
It's just different.
She was in a production of Peter Pan, and
yeah, it did look like she looked like Peter Pan. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's not like gelled back.
It's more like a gel. It's more of a style than like a
lot of mousse. A lot of
mousse.
Usually does.
Speaking of hair in this episode, Odo looked like an ad for L'Oreal. He had a lot of body, very moussey. Like, he had a big. It wasn't just slicked. Odo. Usually,
Odo.
Really slicked back. He had like a bouffant going on.
Yeah.
Odo did. Jeff says he's on his way, by the way, so he will grace us with his presence halfway.
He went to the Circle K. That's why
he went to Circle K. Yeah, and Bashir. Okay, we'll get to Bashir once in the rescue, but like, oh my god, like, he's so smarmy in this episode. He's just like, hello, especially the scene back in Kira's quarters when she's leaving and packing her bag.
Why did
he stood out?
Why did it take him so long to hit the fucking comm badge and transport them all out of there? And then it's like they're still firing at everybody.
It was like he had to admire Kira's beaten face before he could hit the comm badge.
Great job.
He's just looking at her going, what am I going to have to deal with? How many times am I going to have to wave that thing around her face?
Like, we're on a mission here, Bashir. Come on, man.
He got to her, and then in his head, he was like, I think we're supposed to do something.
Yeah, I think we're meant to do something.
Are we supposed to do
something?
Whoa!
Do we know for a fact that a Bajoran shot him, or was it like Miles O'Brien? Just like...
We don't know for a fact.
It's like, let's run back the tape.
That's the O'Brien maneuver.
Yeah.
But just to go back to where we were in the episode, in terms of like when Kira says goodbye to Cisco, right, as she's leaving the station, why does he walk right up to like face her on the turbo lift?
That was,
and then she's going down, like kind of crossing past his crotch.
Turbo lift stop.
It's not necessary. He knows that's how that thing goes. He could have said goodbye to her from like 4 feet away, maybe after a hug if they want. But
everybody's trying to get into Kira in this episode.
Yeah.
Turbo lift stop, perfect height, Kira, going away present. They've been doing a little bit of different. Give you a second to catch that. They've been doing a lot of things, especially in this episode with the turbo lifts. First, you have that sequence where you actually see them slide right down, and then also you have the additional one with.
I like this one.
Oh yeah, the big giant head. You had the other moment where Quark was asking for reimbursement, and then he gets cut off by the camera coming down with the turbo lift. So they're trying a couple of different things.
Yeah.
With it. Jeff, how's your pa?
My paw?
Yeah, pa.
Could be better. My paw could be better.
Okay.
No, it's okay. It's good. It's good. I'm here with you guys now, so it's getting better. Someone touch my ear.
Yeah. Have you, child? Have you?
Child.
I don't know if you cleared this with the ministry or with the assembly, but it's a courtesy, nothing more, nothing less, to let us know if you're not going to be here on time. No, I'm just kidding. But
I had something to deal with. So.
No worries. Star Trek Day, Jeff. It's Star Trek Day.
Happy Star Trek Day.
Yeah,
it's the 54th birthday of Star Trek.
Okay. It's aged like a fine wine or a bad cheese. I don't know which one of them.
Or some blood wine.
Oh, 2309. That was a good year. Better than the year my wife sent me.
But Jeff, what did you think of the circle?
Yeah, Bajorans. I mean, what is there to say?
Bajorans being Bajorans. What are you gonna do?
Everything's about politics, and everything is it's kind of like the like Star Wars politics stuff, where it's just you just roll your eyes, and at least it's a little bit better. But there's a fine line between religion and politics, and it seems to come down to they kind of just go with whatever they want with Bajorans, whatever suits the plot at the time. You know, they're like, there's this rogue faction over here called the Circle, and they're trying to take over, and it's always somebody trying to take over Major. You know, it's just like it seems like a big place. You know, like.
Were you disappointed that it was not more like the reality TV show The Circle from Netflix, where all those people have to live in different apartments and they can catfish each other when they're doing the video chats?
Kai Wynn looks like she has a good toothbrush. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah, Joey. Joey with The Circle. Do you guys like The Circle?
Oh yeah, The Circle. What was his best friend? His Subu? What was it?
Shubi.
Shubi.
Don't take my
brother.
Shubi.
Shubi brother. I
Yeah,
know
you
you with
Shubi,
me
you-
to the end.
Yeah, you had some devilish motherfucker, whatever he was going on about. Yeah, it was amazing. Go watch The Circle. It was better than this in some ways.
Yes, The Circle. I'm currently watching The Circle Brazil. So
The Circle Brazil. I gotta watch The Circle
Portuguese.
England.
Circle UK is good.
Circle UK is something I need to check out. Okay, but
I'm glad I didn't get first.
I think we've lost
Nollis for any more episodes other than this.
Lee Nollis. You're getting one more.
One
I
more.
know.
One more.
I know.
Spoilers. He doesn't make it. But he dies an honorable, tragic death. They sing songs of Lee Nollis forevermore. He's not the hero we need, but he's the hero we deserve, or whatever they said at the end of The Dark Knight. He's
Does the song involve him shooting men in underwear?
if the only thing that Lee Nollis is guilty of is being too humble, basically, or
To know him is to love him. Those who know
to
him
know
love
him
him. Those who didn't know him loved him from afar.
right.
The one thing I will say is Frank Langella always plays a good bad guy, like
Yeah.
kind of like Kai Wynn, like
That's what
you
we were saying too.
just love to hate him, you know.
Louise
like,
Fletcher as
he's just one of those guys you like to punch in the face,
Yeah.
and but you can't because he's on the other side of the screen. But
if it were
was
those
yelling
damn
F Kai
screens get in the
Wynn
way, what a punch
over and over
screens
again. F this woman. I hate her. Oh my gosh.
like, have you guys ever seen the movie with Liam Neeson? I think it's called Unknown, and Frank Langella's in that, and like he's very similar to his performance here, where he's just like kind of like condescending and like is like power hungry and kind of like he just plays that smug smirky guy really really well, I find. Yeah, I mean they do cast well with the Bajorans because
He's in that movie
they really
Dave,
want to
right?
make us hate them.
Yeah.
Dave?
He's the bad guy in Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Like he plays almost this, and Dave's around
He's
this
the
year,
puppet
right?
master.
Like the movie Dave, Kevin Kline,
Dave.
1993. It's the same year.
Yeah.
So he was in the movie Dave, and then he was also on this. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe they named him Dave in this.
only.
His name wasn't Dave. And
No, his name wasn't Dave. No, Kevin
I
Kline
know.
was Dave.
I know,
Yeah.
but it would have been great.
Frank Langella was Bob Alexander. That sounds like a villain.
Yeah.
Bob Alexander.
Right, Sigourney Weaver. It's a good movie if you haven't ever seen it. But yeah, like he was one of the great sort of sinister villains, like more of an intellectual villain, right? Is kind of what he was played at. He was only on this show, as Jeff had mentioned in last week's Fun Facts, because his kid said, "We like Star Trek. You should do Star Trek," and he went on the show.
Jeez. Oh, quick side note, Jeff.
Mm.
Do you like Masters of the Universe?
Like is that a show? Like,
The movie.
The movie.
no, like I haven't seen it.
No, okay, we're watching it.
Yeah,
We've
we're
decided we're
watching
watching it because
Robert Duncan McNeil.
because of it's a long story, but we got to Masters of the Universe, and we're going to do a podcast because a lot of you haven't seen it, Kevin's never seen it, and it's amazing.
Is okay. What is that? What is Masters of the Universe?
He-Man.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
It's the He-Man movie with Dolph Lundgren
And Frank
and Frank
Langella.
Langella as Skeletor. He-Man, come here.
Courtney Cox is in it.
1987 with Dolph Lundgren. That movie.
And Tom Paris is in it.
Jeff, I watched that.
Yeah,
movie.
it sounds amazing.
It is. It's
not.
gold.
It's got
It's
a
got Courtney Cox.
5.4.
It's got Strickland from Back to the Future. He's like, slackers. I'll
Yeah.
get you, slackers.
It's terrible and awesome.
This movie is responsible. Oh, this movie is responsible for, I believe, Superman 4 being the wonderful movie that it is.
What does one have to do with the other?
Should I leave that for fun facts for Masters of the Universe?
Weight has nothing to do with it.
Trust me, it does. Superman 4 and Masters of the Universe are tied together.
Oh, this is heavy.
It is.
Has something happened in the future where the gravity of the Earth is now 1,000,000 times more? Okay. I thought I would be able to quote Back to the Future. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let's get back to the episode that we're here to talk.
It's all more interesting than the Bajorans.
I know. We were like, what can we talk about? He-Man? Let's get that going. Oh yeah. Okay. The episode. Okay. So they give this whole. Okay. We were talking about Odo, not a good security chief, but a good detective. So they give Odo quite a bit of detective work to do in this episode, where he has to track down how these weapons are getting to these the circle, this this terrorist group basically, and Quark brings him a lead. Quark brings some information to Odo, leads him eventually to go on this chase onto the Crisari ship. Where they search it, but they can't find anything. So Odo disguises himself initially as a bag, I think, and then as a rat, and then eventually pulls off this whole thing. So that's the whole Odo arc. Good?
Not really, because so he stole equipment from this ship, this freighter, right? That has a thumbprint on a keypad. Why do people believe that that's to be genuine, right? It could be a fake,
It's
right?
fake.
It could
It's also
be a fake
illegally
easily.
obtained, right?
Illegally obtained from a shapeshifter. It's like, can he shapeshift a thumbprint? I don't know. I'm Bajoran, I have an education that has not really improved over the course of how many years. So I can easily believe whatever they tell me. Right, which is this isn't true. Like what is the plan? They provide the proof. I don't believe it. No, it's true. Like, how are they defending it? There's no actual. Real...
I think that the only way they really justify it here is that Kira's in like a life and death situation, or as far as Odo's concerned, this is life and death. And he'll do whatever.
Okay, I understand doing whatever, but if we're supposed to try to build a case to prove that the Cardassians are involved, or like the weapons are being brought in, do they have any proof of the weapons? No. Do they have any proof that the Cardassians were involved? You have a keypad, which how you obtained it wasn't necessarily legal, or there's like a paper trail showing how you got your hands on it. I snuck onto a freighter and I took it.
Odo learned how to do investigations from the Cardassians.
And Odo does. This isn't the only time Odo does some shifty stuff.
I saw what you did there.
No, he does some slimy stuff.
Yes, he's very he's very gooey.
He's very shifty. That's right.
Very shifty, all the way through.
You could say
what case do they have? Even the Starfleet. Why would you believe anything?
I like
the script told them to.
The script told It's like the admiral should have been like, Benjamin, do you have any of the weapons for proof? Well, no, we left it on the freighter, and we left everything in the circle. We didn't take any cases in our miraculous transporter that can do a ton of people. We could have taken some evidence. Right? Is there any photos or any things of the cave that are probably collapsed right now and deserted? No, we only got Kira and got her out. It's like, well, dudes, like, you want us to do something and there's no real proof of anything whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's okay. So Odo, he gets the job done, but it was shifty as heck. Jeff, what did you think of Vedic Barile?
I think Kira was really looking to bone him.
Can you not help but fall in love with Vedic Barile? Is he,
He's a good-looking man, but with very little charisma. That's what I think about Vedic Barile.
He's just lacking he's no mirror Barile, right?
No, he's no mirror Barile at all. He's very kind of stoic and he's just
the substance of Jello.
Yeah. He's I don't know, I feel like he was cast because how he looks. Kind of he's the equivalent of a Lita,
His eye candy.
If he wasn't a Vedic, he would be the leader of a sex cult. For sure.
Maybe he is. We're not quite sure what his particular sect does.
Also, why is his earring so long?
That's he's a Vedic.
Well, you know what they say about guys with long earrings.
Yeah, I don't know what they don't really get into the earrings part of their religion, but they don't really understand or explain, at least on camera that I recall, what the different earrings mean. I guess it's just maybe
other than they have their family crest or whatever on them.
Yeah. That's right. Their family crest goes on there too.
Yeah,
so
their
it's
family.
It's a bit of an identification thing.
Yeah.
It's
right. But Vedic Barile's got he's carried around I'm surprised he's not like this.
It's just his flair.
Yeah,
it's his flair.
He's had surgery before to get an earring reduction.
Right. And he's always wearing a robe like Hugh Hefner, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking sex cult. I think that's yeah.
What happens to people while they're in the awe of the orb, right? Have they checked their person afterwards? Just saying.
Right.
It's kind of weird how he leaves. He brings her in there and then he kind of walks out into the hallway and he just don't just let it happen. Surrender yourself to the orb.
Yeah. Let it happen. Surrender yourself to the orb. The dude is so creepy.
He basically roofied her with an orb.
He reminds me of that episode of Supernatural where Dean goes into the future and what Cass is like.
Right. What was this vision supposed to tell her?
That she wants to have sex with Vedic Barile.
Yeah. Is that it? That was it?
Yeah, pretty much.
And
that she's a blasphemer. Kai Wynn goes, yells at her.
Why was Kai Wynn or Vedic Wynn? Why was she Dax to begin with?
I don't know.
Because she's sleeping around with people.
Right, and she has weird taste in men.
Because Dax was a Bajoran for this one dream sequence.
Maybe Dax was a Bajoran in a past life.
I don't know. There was something weird going on. I don't know what. Babylon 5 did these vision sequences much better. I got to tell you than this.
I don't want to hear it.
Wow. He's like, this is Star Trek Day.
Star Trek Day. Don't bring up Babylon.
Star Trek Day. Don't you bring it up now.
But that was what was in my head.
Was that said out loud? Was that me? Maybe on Babylon 5 Day we can hear about it.
I don't know if there is a Babylon 5 Day.
Wouldn't that be February 5th? B5?
Oh, that's good. No, B5. Maybe. I gotta look how about. I think it would have something to do with the dawn of the third age of mankind.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, great.
I've never watched the show, so I'm sorry.
That's what killed your conversation with Rob Cisnino, Dave. Just remember.
Yeah, I know. I brought up Babylon 5. He just died. Okay.
He brought up Babylon 5, and he brought up what was the Star Trek character you brought up?
Okay. I was flustered. Okay, so I called into this guy Rob Cisternino, who is a podcaster, does Big Brother Survivor, but he's a Star Trek: The Next Generation fan. So I was talking to him about that and told him I was a Big Brother fan. So he found this intriguing that I liked both, and so he was like, "Okay, quickly, tell me who all the Big Brother people are in the house as Star Trek characters, right?" So the first one, Janelle, I go Lita, and that one kind of was fine, but then he goes, "Who's Tyler?" And I go, "Oh, that's Devanani Rao." Right, like the one who was.
I know who that is.
You know who that is, right?
But it's a deep cut.
It was,
but he was like, he was like, you know, like I think we're really reaching here, Dave. I don't know.
Data or
Yeah, he was looking for like a bigger swing character, like you know,
Yeah.
like not Devanani Rao. You know,
And what was the next
Characters.
question, Dave? What was the next question?
There wasn't one. That was just over.
Who was
Oh, there was
Enzo,
another
right?
question.
Wasn't it
No.
Enzo? Yeah, who's
Enzo.
Enzo? And Enzo is like this New York. He's actually New Jersey guy on Big Brother. And then he goes, I was like, I don't know. Like, I can't really think of Enzo. Like, he's like, there's no New York people in Star Trek, right? Because Rob's sister is a big New York guy. I go, I guess not. No, but Babylon 5 is Garibaldi. And he goes, okay, Dave, I'm gonna have to let you go. And he was like, good night.
yeah, like literally right after
Like, that was
Babylon
great.
5 is mentioned, it was like, okay, Dave, I gotta let you go. Get on to the next person, but good talking to you.
It was like the only New York person I could think of in science fiction as like a main character.
But
Like,
you've later learned that there is a Star Trek New Yorker.
Who was it again? I've forgotten already.
Millards, do you know?
No.
No.
It's been a long road.
Oh.
That's why,
Archer.
that's why I don't
Archer,
know.
yeah, that's right. That's why I forgot.
Oh.
That's why I forgot.
And
I
he's
love
from
it.
upstate New York, but it's never mentioned where.
Wait, but if he's from Buffalo, he's not really from New York, you know, or
Don't tell that to someone
What?
from Buffalo.
If he's from Albany, it's not that far.
they're not from the city. Like they're not from New York City. That's all I'm saying. It's different.
No, but it's still New York State.
Yeah, but people from New York State don't have a Jersey accent. Sure.
People from
No,
From
No, because
Manhattan
New,
don't have a
because New
Jersey
Jersey's
accent
a
either.
different state.
Yeah, New Jersey and New York are different states. It's like people from Florida don't have Texas accents
Unless they move.
unless they move.
They move.
Yeah, but
And they do. It's weird. It's so weird.
Weird. So weird.
So weird.
So weird.
So
So weird. So, Dave, Deep Space Nine.
D6 9. What are we talking about? Minister Jaro?
Oh, we got. I don't know
Okay.
what's going on in this episode.
We
guys.
talked about a lot. Okay, Kira's abducted, and she's brought to the caves. Right? They get her with the hypospray. It's really quick. They get it.
Yeah.
Right? And they get her there, and what's his name? Minister Jaro is like, I am the circle. You know, I was born in the dark, and he kind of does
One of the
his
most
little-
underwhelming reveals ever.
yeah.
Yes.
yeah, he's such a swagger too. He's so cocky about it.
Why did the cave had circle symbols on it? Were they practicing? Like,
It was like their Nazi banner, I guess, right? So,
but it seems kind of pointless. Like, it just seems like a place for. Do they have like a logo when they were doing the resistance? Because it seems like we're gonna mark ourselves.
Well, this whole 3-episode arc takes place over what? A week and a half, 2 weeks? They have to that's just them. That is them just coming up with a logo on the wall. They're like,
Yeah.
shit,
They have
we
a
need
branding
something.
team?
We have
It's like-
weapons, but we don't have a logo.
like, come on, Bob designed that logo. It's really good. You know, he went through several drafts. We got to, everyone's doing it up. And
Who made the brand?
I feel like that's a great lower decks like
Yeah.
joke
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
about that. That's just waiting to happen.
You know what I didn't realize is I thought the Bajoran ships, like most ships, how they're triangles like a piece of pizza,
Yeah.
but the fat end is the forward part of the ship.
Yeah, they're the ugliest looking ship you ever saw.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like the opposite. of how you
Maneuverability
think
is
it would
not
work,
great.
you
The
know?
Ferengis have nicer ships.
And they're terrible too.
Yeah.
I like
They at least-
the Breens have nicer ships. Everyone's got no. Okay, I play Star Trek Online, the video game. There's all these ships and whatever. Nobody wants to be the Bajoran ship. Every other ship under the sun, you can be. You can pick anything. Not that one.
What about Cardassians? Do people want to be a Cardassian
Some
ship?
people like Cardassian ships.
Really?
I like
Yeah.
Cardassian ships. Look like big.
Grasshopper? Like,
I don't know. Like they're fine. I
They
don't
look like
mind them.
nacho chips.
Nacho chips.
the color of nacho chips.
They're
the
more the
color.
color of nacho chips.
It's like,
They're
what
more the-
color do you want? Nacho.
But they kind of
Nacho
look more like a squash, almost,
or a key.
Yes.
Kind of
or a key.
Yeah.
Key squash.
It's like rust. It's like, is there? Can I get an off rust?
Whatever puke, the color of puke. I'll go with that.
And if you're still with us here on the podcast, we're talking about
I think this is
Star
a great episode in tribute to Star Trek Day.
Yes.
Star Trek Day. We're talking about the Circle, And yeah, it's all reveal. But he eventually says, "What will Cisco do? What will the Federation do once we like come for them? Right? Will it, And so she won't talk. She won't talk. She won't tell Jarrow. She won't even lie about it. And so he's like, the Cardassians taught us how to get information, and this is where they torture her? Did they just punch her face? Is that what they had
set
to
up
do?
lights? They set up.
Were there
lights.
4 lights?
4 lights.
Yeah.
They
We heard it
learned that
going.
from the Cardassians.
We
They
heard
did.
the screams. It was Jeff. Do the Bashir yells.
Oh.
Oh! Yeah, we heard those later on when they come to rescue her, because especially after she gets captured, like they're like, "We're going to Bajor. We're doing it." It was like the other thing we skipped over was that it's kind of civil war on Bajor. Like it's not there's like these insurgents, like the circle.
Is there a civil war? Who's getting hurt? All you're hearing gunshots in the air.
Gunshots in the air, but nobody's actually fighting each other. The Bajorans aren't actually fighting each other. They get close and then they run away. Right?
They're
It's
dancing
kinda
in the
what
streets.
They're dancing in the streets.
Dancing in the streets.
Cisco went to talk to that general guy earlier, who I don't think we ever saw again, or maybe he shows up in the next part. But
He says he'll remember what Cisco did in terms of the favor.
which is ironic because nobody really remembers him or his legacy in this show. But he's like, "I'll remember you." Yeah, he's like, "I met you a year ago, Cisco. I hated all your ideas, but you were a good presenter, so you got my respect." I think this is the weirdest former Bajordan freedom fighter turned general guy ever. But here we go. But they rescue her. As we mentioned earlier, Bashir really dropped the ball, not getting that pin on her sooner.
Yeah.
Well, Bashir, he doesn't come into his own until season 7. So,
Yeah, well, right. Almost, he doesn't really come into his own, I think, until the last episode.
penultimate episode. Thank you very much.
Penultimate episode.
So he technically gets himself shot here.
All right, but here's the question: the cliffhanger for the episode is that once they get Kira out of the thing, and they know Mr. Jarrow is the bad guy, and they know that the Cardassians are supplying them, and they don't know it, and this is the Cardassians are actually manipulating things from behind the scenes, but it doesn't matter because Jarrow and the Circle, and they've sent 2 ships at the station with force, and the Federation people are technically in danger. So Admiral Chakotay, no relation to Commander Chakotay from Voyager, over the subspace, over the Skype call, he says, this is an internal Bajoran war. I think his interpretation of the Prime Directive is correct. He's like, yeah, the Cardassians are doing things, but we can't do this, right? Like, we can't get involved in this because that would betray our ideals. But and Cisco says, yeah, okay, we'll leave. And O'Brien says, we can get out of here in 3 hours. Everyone's off the station. He's like, but if we had to take all this stuff out of the wall, it would take days. He's like, yeah. So we'll just be doing that. So they're stalling. So maybe go to Jeff. Jeff, Cisco, good commander here. Does he make the right call? Is this the right command decision?
For him.
For him.
I think Cisco is out of his depth in this episode. I think this is the first episode where you really notice like how little control he has over the situation on Bajor, how little he is involved. You kind of just like, he's like, hey, Odo says there's something going on Bajor. There's a coup or something. I gotta go check this out. Stuff like this. Jake has to tell him about like the circle graffiti on his quarters and like stuff like this. Like it's just like he's like, oh no, security. Make sure it's happening everywhere. And like that was in the last episode, but he literally leaves Kira. 2 seconds later, she's abducted. Like there's a whole bunch of things like this with Cisco where it's just like, you do have any control of what's going on here whatsoever? And the answer is no, he does not.
Speaking of that too, he says in the last episode, as of this moment, there are no low security areas on this station. He should then go to Odo in this episode and go, my quarters? Seriously? My quarters.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point.
Yeah.
And then because he tries to make Quark his deputy. I mean, that was his first mistake.
I wanted one of those deputy stars and like a little like cowboy hat.
Cowboy
Quark. That's what I wanted.
Plastic revolver.
With a little cork gun.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is, okay, later, I know that later on, Cisco will have all this power over the Bajorans. Basically, he can kind of go, later on, he'll have enough power to go to the Bajoran ministers and ask them to do all kinds of things with the Dominion War, to make treaties and things like, because he gets embraced as the emissary. But at this point, he's not. Most Bajorans, like with the exception of Vedic Wind, call him just commander.
Because he's not embraced it yet.
Yeah, he hasn't embraced it yet.
When did I don't understand when I don't remember. Why does that flip? When does that flip in this show?
There's an episode that centers around why he begins to embrace it.
And what is that episode?
So there's a Bajoran that comes through the wormhole, and from the past. Like he was with the prophets.
Oh, the other emissary, the rival emissary.
The Bajorans. Then there's like some Bajorans think he's the emissary, and some Bajorans think that Cisco's the emissary, and there's a whole thing. And Cisco just goes, "Well, have it," and then regrets it.
And he tries to get them to do their Shatara, which is like their past system.
And then Cisco's like, "No," and takes it back.
You are the Cisco.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That's what that's in like the next season.
And
right?
that's when he embraces it.
Yeah, basically he gets jealous that somebody else did that job for a bit and went, no, that's mine.
No, that's my job.
And because it was also steering the Bajorans in a direction he didn't
agree with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prime director be damned.
They were steering him.
Because he's like, you want Kira to be an artist? She tells us in this episode she failed at finger paints. Right.
Yeah. Well, she tried to make lots of little statues, and they weren't. Great.
No good. Her family were supposed to be all artists, but she had no artistic ability.
She can't even build a path.
Yeah. She can't even get rocks straight.
She can't even get her rock straight. That's right.
But,
Kira's about fighting.
I know a Vivek that was trying to get some rock straight. If you know what I mean. Right.
Vedic Baral.
Take some rocks. Take some rocks off the path.
Yeah,
you know
he'd like to curve his rocks.
He wants to get his rocks off.
Yes.
Everything's becoming Austin Powers. We got to tell 3 or 4 good pun jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he really wants to be the emissary in the first 2 seasons. He's kind of like, this sucks. I hate Bajor. Like, Bajor's kind of annoying. All these Bajor episodes suck. Can we, like, I don't think Avery Brooks was all that fond of the whole Bajoran thing. And then I think they convinced him over time, I think, like, what they were going to do with the character.
Like, no, you were going to be Jesus to Bajor. He's like, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, and then he was like, wait a minute. And they were like, you could act as crazy as you want. And he was like, oh, all right.
We're going to have you digging in the desert for something you don't even know if it's there.
Yeah, you'll be scrubbing those clams behind your dad's restaurant. No problem. Whatever you want to do, man. It's rough.
You'll be seeing visions. You'll be using your baseball. Things will happen.
All those things. But before you do, you're going to have to do the circle. And then go on to the Siege, which is the next episode in this 3-part season opener for the second season. Jeff, we said that this 3.5-year journey was going. If it was going to be the toughest season, it was going to be the second season. Is that proving to be true so far?
Is what going to be true? Sorry,
that the second season is so far has been the toughest season to get.
It's going to be.
We've only done the first season so far to compare it to, but.
Yeah, the first season I think is going to have more good episodes.
It does.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to watching the 3rd parter?
No. I'm looking forward to getting through season 2. It's going to be a long, arduous process here.
Because at a certain point, Deep Space Nine won't have a bad episode for years, like for seasons. Like they won't even like maybe like an exception here and there, but
there's some bad episodes peppered in, but
generally, like even especially season 4, I think is one of the most flawless.
There's no more strings of bad episodes.
Season 5 is one of the most.
And season 5 is super strong.
Season 5 is incredible.
And in comparison, I think season 1 has grown on me in a lot of ways. There's a lot of episodes in season 1 I think are better than I ever thought. But I think I think it's tiresome, especially if I was watching this week to week, going. The homecoming to now the circle, and then we got the siege next week. We'll be breaking that down.
Yeah, I'm like, if I get in this every week, that's bad.
I think this beginning of season 2 probably lost a lot of a lot of viewers originally, and then a lot of people came back to Deep Space Nine, got through those episodes, and went, "Oh right, this is my favorite one now." But here is where I think Deep Space Nine lost a lot of fans.
Okay, but like the string of these 3 episodes are important to what the show became. They even say in What We Left Behind, Ira Stephen Bear says, like, because they were able to do a 3-parter, they were like, oh, we could just kind of do a continuous story here. We don't need to do the episodic TNG route.
Yeah.
Right.
So these episodes, although they kind of suck, are very, very important to the show that we got later in time.
Yeah, it's a first attempt.
Yeah.
Experiment.
And if you're going to experiment with the Bajorans because nobody cares.
Jeff, fun facts.
Okay, moving over to fun facts. We got the fire. The paw race are here.
We got the paw race. I like it.
Okay.
Fire caves.
Okay, so director Corey Allen shot the scene in Kira's quarters in one continuous, uninterrupted take. He thought he was Marty Scorsese. When the episode was edited together, the scene was intercut with various close-ups and reverse angles, but the master shot of this scene was one long take, something of which Allen was extremely proud. So they were like, hey, we see your long take, but we're not.
Peter Allen Fields also wrote Move Along Home. Okay, he's not. He's
one of my favorite.
Hey, like he's not one of the great. I wouldn't put him like in terms of Star Trek writers in like the upper tier. He's sort of like third tier, sort of.
Yes, third tier.
Third tier. Third tier.
A most honorable tier to be in. Third tier.
Yes.
Okay, Frank. Okay, we already talked about this, but Frank Langella is uncredited because he didn't really like Star Trek apparently, but his kids did. So, that's why he did it. Frank the Third, by the way, was one of his kids. You heard that right, Frank the Third. Writer Peter Allen Fields based the scene in Kira's quarters where everyone comes to say goodbye to her on a scene from a 1935 film, A Night at the Opera.
Of course.
Okay.
Odo's thin monitor screen that can be seen on his on his desk in the security office is never seen again after this episode.
I didn't think so. That's the first I picked up on that.
There you go.
When I saw it.
It was unusual, but I liked it. I thought it was like, oh, he's got a little thing to have a call with some Bajoran guy we'll never see again.
But from now on, he always turns around.
That's right.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they were. He's like, get this out of here. That's probably what happened. Okay, Stephen Mock, the guy who played Krim, the guy who's like the Bajoran intelligence guy, where Sisko goes to talk to him in this episode. We didn't really talk about that scene in this episode because it was boring. But guess who that actor was considered to have played? Jean-Luc Picard. He was going to play Jean-Luc Picard.
Who was?
Stephen Mock. Were you not listening?
Well, but who played who? No, not
Krim in this episode. The guy that Sisko goes to talk to in the
general?
Yeah, the general.
That guy was going to be Picard?
That guy was going to be Picard.
I don't think he would have been as good.
Yeah, no.
I don't think anybody would have been as good.
Oh,
Or
he's
Rex.
Gabriel Mock's dad from Suits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Double fun fact.
Double
fun fact. Ashley coming in with the paw race fire.
Snuck one in there.
There's a 47 reference in this episode. This will be an ongoing theme here with Deep Space Nine. It's Star Trek in general, so on Star Trek Day we should honor it. Of the number 47 popping up in these episodes. As Odo is speaking with someone over the Bajoran Regional Comm Network, the routing code displayed begins with 47. Well, there you go. I mean, I guess it could have been a lot of different numbers, but okay. This takes place in 2370. Now, I don't believe this is true, but it says here that Sisko's baseball is seen on his desk for the first time in this.
I read that on another website as well. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think I remember seeing his baseball on his desk in the first season.
I thought
he's had it in his hand.
he saw his clock, right?
But like that little stand he has to hold the baseball on his desk. I don't think that was there until this time.
No, yeah, that might be the first time, but the baseball has been.
Well, there was that whole episode with Buck Bokai or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
All that.
Yeah, and he must not have had the stand yet on his desk.
Yeah.
They're still working on the prop department clearly because they're adding thin screens for Odo and taking them away. You know. Okay, so a couple goofs. Some would say that it would be inappropriate for Vedic Baral to invite Kira or any woman to a monastery. A monastery is by definition a place where men can be free from the distractions of women. However, this takes place in the Bajoran culture. As such, a monastery there is a different type of religious retreat, and the genders are free to mix. Even Vedic Wynn was there.
Even in her habit.
That is true.
The genders are free to mix.
Child.
Previously, it's revealed that the most a runabout can beam is 2 people simultaneously.
Yeah,
However,
Kevin brought this one up.
in this episode, several people are beamed to the circle headquarters and back from a runabout.
Not just in a previous episode, in the previous episode.
Yeah.
The one before this one.
Well, I mean, they wanted you to catch it, Kevin. The writer went,
He
you.
He was bitching about it while we were watching the episode.
Prior to interrogating Kira Nerys, Minister Jaro Essa sits on a boulder, and it could be seen to be moving appreciably.
So it wasn't a real boulder?
He goes to sit on the boulder moves. He's out.
It's paper mache.
Yeah, it's a big paper mache.
On the set of Masters of the Universe, that was a movie, I'll tell you. It had a real budget. We had all kinds of things in special effects. I was like, He-Man.
Yeah, don't credit me on this piece of shit. Okay, moving on.
Oh.
Well, all right, finally, when Kira's friends arrive one by one to her quarters to say goodbye, she is not wearing a uniform jacket. On her upper right arm is a smallpox vaccination scar, which is only seen on the arms of Earth people who received the vaccination before 1972. So I guess
I know about the uniforms, right?
You're obsessed with them. You don't know.
I'm obsessed with the Bajoran uniforms. They don't make sense to me. Okay, so you mentioned her undershirt that has like sort of like this, I don't know, open thing here. It's got like this pattern here that's open at the top where like the crosses and stuff. I'm like, okay, but what's the male variant of this? Is what I'm thinking, right? And I'm thinking like, I don't think this would be a good look on a guy's shirt. I think that with the area at the top on the chest, I'm not having it. Not good design.
Only Dave would think, hey, how does this shirt apply to me?
The entire Bajoran uniform is not a good design.
I don't like their uniforms in general, but this, I appreciate that they have more of an undershirt, but I just don't. At least they should have shown me on camera what the male variant is, so I understand how this works. I don't get it.
Okay, I've been watching season 7. I'm not gonna ruin anything, but at one point, Kira is given a Starfleet uniform. Does she look better in the Starfleet uniform than the Bajoran uniform?
100%. Yes. And I even like that. And that's not even the best Starfleet uniform.
Ooh.
Her later uniform, the one that doesn't have like the shoulder crease, like the one that's just like the jumpsuit, that's better.
Yeah.
But this one, ugh. Anyway. Jeff, are you also going to mention Admiral Chakotay?
What about it?
Admiral Chakotay appears in he's one of the only people who appears in both the Next Generation and in Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
Well, there you go. I didn't know that. That wasn't in the fun facts.
Well, guess what? What was the Next Generation episode he was in?
Kuchamoya?
No, there's no relation. No relation to that Chakotay.
It was coming. Oh my gosh.
He appears in Gambit, Part 1, the one where It's the one where like Riker and Picard are with those pirate guys, like, and whatever, and they're, all that. So, but he's one of the only people to appear on both shows, along with Bashir, Quark, Yvek, and Morn.
There you go.
Short list.
Bashir got around. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, get more fun facts?
That's it.
All right, let's get to ratings. And I don't have your ratings for last week's, everybody. I don't know if Jeff, if we did this or if we were waiting. I couldn't remember what happened, but Ashley and Kevin gave us ratings for last week. They gave it the Homecoming a 5 and a 4 respectively, and I gave it a 4.9. Jeff, do you want to give a rating?
4.5.
Okay, and Jaemeel.
5 for prostitute Kira.
5 for prostitute Kira. Okay, now let's get to this week's episode. The Circle. Was this better or worse? I'll go first. I will say that this was lesser, especially with the scenes with Bareil with his shirt off with Kira in the Orvision. That was, I'm disturbed. I won't be able to get that in my head for at least a day. I'm giving it a 3.6. All right.
I love the precision.
Yeah, it's just a 3 for me.
A 3. Jaemeel?
I'm giving it a 5.5.
Ashley?
I'm sticking with 4 for this one.
And Kevin?
I'm going to go with 5 again.
So the highest was Jaemeel at 5.5, and the lowest is Jeff at 3. So average is at 4.2. Both the Homecoming and the Circle have a 7.7 IMDb. Again, I don't even know how accurate IMDb is, because who bothers to go out and rate random Star Trek DS9 episodes on there? But people do, so it's some kind of baseline. Anyway, so that kind of puts, because of that, it's about a 6.2 and a 6.0 for the opener and the second part, respectively. Definitely down the list. Like, these are not 2 great episodes to start off the second season. Like, with our average overall being 6.5. And not since Duet. Like, we've been on a decline since Duet. We need to come back up. Will the Siege bring us there, everybody?
No.
Okay. Will the episode after?
I don't know if
Looks
we'll have an
unlikely.
episode reach Duet until season 3.
Not reach Duet, but just get us above the average. Get us above 6.5. Like, in terms of ratings. How many weeks must we wait?
A whole season.
The whole season?
I think so. I mean, there will be good episodes here and there, but they're not going to reach over 9, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong.
Invasive Prestige. No, not that. Oh, that guy from Gremlins 2. That's coming up after this. Right? You know who I mean. Right?
Was it something Combs or?
No, his name is. He steals the Dax symbiote. John Glover. John Glover. He's from like Smallville and stuff.
Yeah.
Or Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. What was
Yes.
he? Yeah, he's in that. Who is he playing that? Oh, he's the with Poison Ivy.
Yes.
That scientist guy. Yes.
Yes.
He's coming up. I'm excited for that. Gremlins 2. Has everyone seen that? Maybe we could just look. This whole podcast was like, who cares about the Circle? Let's talk about movies we could watch and do a podcast on. And Gremlins 2 is great too. I think we could even do it under Star Trek themed, because Gremlins 2 has Robert Picardo from Voyager, and Masters of the Universe has Robert Duncan McNeil, also from Voyager. So there's a connection to both movies. So Star Trek actors in questionable movies could be the title. Well, we're on the title.
That's the title of the podcast. Star Trek actors in questionable movies.
Do we do like Sean Hobbs because The Rock is in it?
No.
No, he's not a Star Trek actor.
He's done multiple characters on Star Trek.
I thought he only
The
did
Rock?
the one.
No, he probably only did the one. I was gonna see how that goes though.
Yeah. Like, did you know Kira, Man of Visitor, and Kate Mulgrew were both on the same show in the 70s?
In the 70s, jeez.
Did they? No, I didn't know that.
Here, I forgot to tell you what the show was called.
Is this like fun facts in terms of all these 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah, you'll never believe it. It was the show called Ryan's Hope. It was a show for
I've heard of this. It's like a soap opera.
Yeah, it was a soap opera. And Nana Visitor did like 20 episodes, but like Kate Mulgrew was the lead of that show.
Right.
So
Yeah, I've
there
heard
you
that. But I don't know I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it, but that's sort of what she did before that. I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to come in with somebody who's an unknown for your new captain in general. I don't think it worked for Bakula having Quantum Leap.
It did not work at all for Bakula.
It's not just because we knew Bakula. Bakula's a goober. Okay.
Okay, so like for example, was Giorgio a bad captain? Like in the short period of time we had
Prime
with her?
Giorgio is great. Mirror Giorgio is terrible.
What about Lorca?
Lorca was fantastic.
When he was pretending to be
Lorca
good.
one and the same. So.
No, he was great. He was great all around.
Pike's great.
No, he's
So like and Pike is coming off a show where he was awful in it. So Inhumans is possibly one of the worst shows on
Oh yeah,
television.
he was Black Bolt in Inhumans.
Yeah,
too.
it was awful. So like all three of them are known performers who've done other stuff that are somewhat high profile. They weren't bad captains. They might have had very bad scripts provided to them. But Bakula was just uncharismatic.
Yes.
He was just he was a mop with a Star Fleet uniform on, right? But there was a lot of mops on that show.
I think what's happened to Star Trek for me is it used to be more like a play with big performances and now it's all more like just a TV show. Like it you don't get those same big performances like you do say out of Avery Brooks or
get some hungrier actors who are willing to take some
They
chances.
just need to get Broadway people that
Patrick
are looking
Stewart.
to get Broadway people that are willing to cross over.
Yeah,
You get them on the cheap.
that was the
right?
secret sauce of those first
because
series.
especially like even TNG, there was a lot of Broadway people on the cast.
Yeah, and even like and Gates McFadden, an actor, but also a choreographer, more of a behind the scenes kind of.
But she was also Broadway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, classically trained as well. So like could do it all. Like they were you need a certain discipline to do this. And even then, like back then, 24 episodes a season, like and you got to work apparently they talk about 18-hour days or stuff like that. Like
So they're used to it. Like that's why Lin-Manuel needs to do the new Star Trek.
Lin-Manuel. I could sure, the musical Star Trek.
Yes. So many people would be so angry. I'm just thinking about how to anger the audience even more. It's like Star Trek the musical.
Oh god.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
start
like-
with a song. Start the opening credits with a song.
Yeah.
Everyone will love it.
We got Russell Watson back again to do a new version of the song. It's great.
I am
The same song.
I saw a good meme. It was like from Insurrection, where it was like "Sing, Worf, sing," and then Worf starts going, "It's been a long road." And then it's Picard. He's like, "No, not that song."
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, we'll be back, everybody, next week to talk about the Siege, the final part of this triple part opener, and I think that there's some good episodes coming up here in season 2. So we hope you join us each week here on this.
Don't leave us
podcast.
alone, please.
If we haven't talked you out of it yet, then please stay with us because we got some great things. We got John Glover coming up in a few weeks. Who knows? And you might want to know what happens with that Masters of the Universe podcast. So make sure you check that out.
Or the Star Trek People in Questionable Movies podcast.
Yes.
Be sure to check that out.
That sounds like a great podcast.
So Star Trek Enterprise, the movie podcast.
Yeah, that would just be
Yeah.
an easy one to do as well. Also here on Live Long and Podcast, which is all about Star Trek, we will have tomorrow night, Wednesdays, we do original series, and we are doing Arena tomorrow. Kirk versus Gorn in a battle of wits and to the death. You got to check that out. It's one of the classic episodes from the first season of original series. We were talking about that with our Jeff and I's dad, Ted, along with Jody Simpson and Adam Woodward. Jeff, are you on that tomorrow? You know, original.
Yeah, it should be.
Oh, Jeff's gonna be. Jeff
I gotta help you out. I gotta set up Dad so he doesn't.
Yeah, you actually. Jody's looking at Dad's computer, so it's not back yet with him. So you might have to do it from there, from your command center. But also, we are doing Big Brother over on our Super Mater Brothers podcasting. If you watch Big Brother USA All Stars, and what a season it is! One of the best seasons in memory. Like, if you ever wanted to see the greats of Big Brother, slug it out. We are covering that. We are in the 5th week of Big Brother. Jaemeel, how are you feeling about Big Brother so far? Are you as excited as I am?
Join us.
He's pulling Nicole Franzel, Jaemeel. He's lying to the DR. Come on, let's get real.
Lord.
So when we
watch us talk about Princess Tug a lot, and the rest of the merry men as they fumble and bumble to political shitstorm. It's going to be fun.
It's great. It's great. You got to check out this HOH. And then so we here Wednesday night and Thursday night to cover the next 2 episodes of Big Brother. We'll also do Sunday nights, as that's the other episode that airs on CBS and Global here in Canada. And we'll be here Thursday night to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks, the 6th episode that's coming up, which the name escapes me at this moment, but it was a cool one.
Last episode?
The next one. The next one coming up is called. It's called Terminal Provocations. We didn't know this last week, so this came out today. Terminal Provocations. I don't know, Millard, are you liking Star Trek Lower Decks so far?
We've only watched 2 episodes.
But those 2 episodes.
I've enjoyed those 2 episodes.
Okay, so you got some catching up to do.
We haven't stopped because we didn't like it. We just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Right, you're too busy watching Deep Space Nine.
That's right.
Circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I am doing that.
Saturday night, we will be here for Star Trek Radio Theater. I don't have a poster to show you. It's not ready yet. But we are going to be doing Star Trek Voyager. We have a little bit of a rotation now. We're going to do Voyager, TNG, Deep Space Nine, original series. I don't think if that's the order, but we'll be doing those 4 series on some kind of a rotation. And this next one is called Inside Man from Voyager's 7th season, where Barclay sends a hologram to Voyager to help them out, but it's kind of got its plot. It might be working with some Ferengis and real Barclays into it, and I'll be playing Barclay and evil hologram Barclay. So check that out Saturday night. We got a lot of different characters going on. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one, actually. So check that out. That's our Live Long and Podcast and our Super Mater Brothers podcasting week and Trivial Debates each month. The last Sunday of the month, Ashley Millard will be our next host for Trivial Debates, and we cannot wait. It's going to be the first triple threat tag team royale. So who knows where this is going to go? You're going to have your hands full, Ashley, with this next Trivial Debates. So I hope you're ready. I
am. I've already got my questions.
Yeah, I think I might go to this format. I like this new format in the grid where you can put the host at the top. Maybe
you're in the circle.
You're in the circle now, right? Well, this is more of a circle, but
I love you, Shuby.
Shuby.
Shuby looks like he's got a nice toothbrush.
Circles don't have corners.
All right. Well, I'm going to sign off now. Happy Star Trek Day and night, everybody. And we will see you next week. Live Long and Podcast. I'm